Bueno, muy buenas tardes para todos y para todas. Les damos la bienvenida a nuestra sesión informativa del día de hoy, 6 de octubre del 2025, en el marco de nuestra línea de eventos con todas las universidades de convenio. Estamos en esta ocasión con la Universidad de Sussex, ubicada en Reino Unido, para todos aquellos interesados en materializar su proyecto académico y profesional en este destino tan popular e increíble y que sin duda alguna tiene grandes experiencias por ofrecerles. Mucho gusto para todos. Mi nombre es Karen Martínez, hago parte del equipo de Relaciones Internacionales y Consejería Académica aquí en COLFUTURO y el día de hoy estoy muy bien acompañada con Kevin McDonald, él es representante de la Universidad de Sussex, y Rafael, él es beneficiario de COLFUTURO del año 2024 y actualmente se encuentra estudiando Sustainable Development. Entonces, ellos en conjunto, Kevin por su lado nos va a hablar sobre temas relacionados a la universidad, proceso de admisión, oferta académica, todas las ayudas y apoyos financieros que ellos les pueden brindar, y por otro lado tendremos a Rafael que nos va a dar recomendaciones, un poquito que nos cuente su experiencia estudiando en Sussex y viviendo allí. Entonces la idea es que aprovechemos al máximo la experiencia de Kevin y de Rafael, que aprovechemos su participación en este espacio y que podamos dirigir todas las preguntas que nos surjan al respecto. Bueno, les recuerdo pues que este espacio es ideal para que puedan clarificar toda la información que ya quizás contienen y empiecen a planificar un programa de posgrado en el exterior. Así que a través del cajón de Q&A con muchísimo gusto podrán dejar sus inquietudes y se las remitiré a cada uno de ellos. Adicionalmente, y como ya lo saben, todos estos webinars se hacen en el marco de nuestros convenios y con la Universidad de Sussex tenemos un convenio que consta de ofrecer una beca del 100% en programas de maestría y una beca del 20% para todos los demás beneficiarios de Colfuturo. Así que es una oportunidad imperdible, un gran beneficio que nos brinda la Universidad de Sussex. Entonces, sin mayor preámbulo, Kevin, Rafael, thank you so much for being here today with us. You can go ahead and start your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you, Karen, and welcome to everybody who's joined us on the webinar this evening. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come along to this University of Sussex webinar. As Karen says, my name is Kevin MacDonald. I am an international officer at Sussex, and essentially my job is to help any student who's thinking about coming to Sussex with that journey. So I'm going to give a little presentation this evening to explain everything you need to know about entry requirements, application process, accommodation, and our campus, as well as the city of Brighton, where we're located. And I'm joined, very lucky to be joined by one of our, well, I'm going to say still current students, or maybe almost alumni, Rafael, and we're going to have a little chat as well at the end of the presentation so as you can get a great student perspective from a COLFUTURO beneficiary. So, lots to do, and I want to make sure that we have time for questions at the end. So I'm going to start my presentation, and we will make sure that we have plenty of time at the end to discuss. So this is the beautiful University of Sussex campus. We are very lucky. We're surrounded by National Park, the South Downs National Park. So you can expect a very green campus surrounded by nature, if that's what you love. But today I'm going to help you in terms of explaining more about Sussex, the student experience at Sussex, because you're coming here not just for your degree, not just for the academic experience, but there's so much more to experience, and about the city of Brighton, where we are located. So let's start with a quick geography lesson. I know perhaps not a lot of you have been to the UK, and if you have, perhaps, you haven't traveled outside of London. So you can see our location. We're right down on the south coast in a city called Brighton. And just to clarify, the name Sussex is the name of the county or the local region, but you will be based in the city of Brighton, or as you're going to see, just outside Brighton. We are a medium-sized university of about 16,000 students, but we're very international in our outlook. We have over 140 different nationalities represented on campus, and we have a good representation from the LATAM region. About 90 students from that region every year come to study at Sussex, and I think every year probably about 20 of those are from Colombia. So you certainly will have other Spanish-speaking students on campus and other students from the region, but you can expect to be interacting with students from Japan, from China, from Nigeria, from the USA, pretty much everywhere. So if you're looking for that international, multicultural diversity of perspectives and people, you're definitely going to find it at Sussex. So let's zoom in a little bit more on exactly where we are in relation to the city of Brighton. So what's great about Sussex is that everything is located in one place. You live on campus, you study on campus, you have all the facilities you need right there, but we have great connections to our local city, which I'm going to tell you more about. So within 10 minutes by train, you can be in Brighton, or if you prefer, you can take a bus. And I know a lot of you will be familiar with London and will want to visit there, and you'll find that Brighton is very accessible. It's only 1 hour by train to London, and our local airport, London Gatwick Airport, is just 30 minutes away. And from there, you can fly anywhere in Europe. So not only do you have good access to London, but you have good access to the rest of Europe as well from the Brighton campus. So I think it is really a huge benefit to have our own space and our own campus, but still have a good sized city and major international connections right on our doorstep. So just going to show you a little video about Sussex to get us started. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that video to kind of express the sort of philosophy and spirit of Sussex. We want our students to go out into the world and make real positive change and real global impact. Whether you're studying business, whether it's development studies, whether it's engineering, no matter what you study, we want our students to question and to criticize and to look at different ways of doing things and really not just repeat what has been done before, but to ask the big questions and hopefully make big changes and tackle the big problems in society and in the world today. So, some other things about the University of Sussex, just some rankings that you may want to consider. I'm sure many of you on the call today are interested in development studies, and Sussex has been consistently ranked #1 in the world for development studies, according to QS rankings. That has been the last 9 years in a row. So, certainly, if development studies is a subject you're interested in, you should have your eye on Sussex. But Sussex also exceeds really in anything to do with the social sciences. So things like international relations, anthropology, politics. You will find Sussex is consistently ranked top 70 in the world by QS and top 10 in the UK. Now, we offer a number of other courses across seven different fields, but certainly I think the social sciences and particularly development studies is our strength and perhaps what Sussex is best known for as an institution. But it's not just our academic rankings. I think what you can really benefit from studying at university is our international connections, particularly within the field of development and international relations. We are a global university that really looks outwards, and we value the importance of transnational relationships with other universities, but NGOs, government organizations, and the public and private sector. So we have a very practical focus on our master's courses, and when you study, it will not just be the degree certificate you return home with, it will be a huge network of international connections that will help you advance your career. So, I won't spend too much time on this because we have about 200 different postgraduate courses available to our students, but I just wanted to give you a flavor of those and show you how really varied the options are. As I said, development studies may be what many students are coming from, but we offer courses within maths and physics, the life sciences, the media and humanities. So pretty much any subject you can think of, Sussex can offer a postgraduate course. Entry requirements, I will only speak briefly to this because, they will vary for everyone's different circumstances. But generally, for students from Colombia, we would look to see a minimum GPA of probably 3.5 and above from your undergraduate degree. That's probably going to be the most important entry requirement. That's the thing we will look at the most. Now, other courses, particularly those in the Institute of Development Studies, may require work experience, but that is honestly quite unusual. We don't usually require work experience. So usually we are assessing you on the strength of your undergraduate degree and the score you have from that. So that's the main requirement. The second big requirement will be an English language requirement. And again, this will vary depending on the course, but we are quite flexible in the different type of English language certificates we will accept. So many students will take IELTS, but some prefer Cambridge Advanced English or Pearson or TOEFL. So we will take different qualifications depending on which is most convenient for our students. And generally, our minimum IELTS requirement is going to be B2 level, so that would be 6.0 overall. But some courses are 6.5, some are 7, so it can vary depending on your course. But the minimum you should be aiming for is a B2 intermediate level in your English language qualifications. As I said, sometimes we need work experience, sometimes we need to interview, but generally the two biggest requirements will be your undergraduate degree in a relevant subject and an English language qualification as well. Our fees and living expenses. Now, we know, of course, funding is a major concern for every student applying to us. And so at the moment, we haven't published our fees for 2026, but we do have our 2025 fees here on screen. So generally, there is a difference between what we call non-lab and lab-based courses. So non-lab courses are humanities courses, for example, like international relations, politics, development studies, and they will generally be a bit cheaper. So for 2025 students, they were paying £22,575. Now, if you do something perhaps like economics or engineering or computer science, that might be a little bit more expensive, and that currently stands at £26,250. Living expenses vary enormously, of course, by every student, but I think a good budget for living in Brighton for a year would be maybe about £14,000. Of course, your major consideration will be accommodation, and I'm going to show you some approximate costs for that as well. So yes, we totally understand, the UK is a big investment and a significant financial challenge for some students. But I would say Sussex fees are relatively, average, perhaps mid-range for the UK sector. So if you are considering the UK, this is, perhaps certainly not the most expensive option that you would see within the UK university sector. We do have some funding options. Obviously, you hopefully will be a COLFUTURO scholar, but Sussex offers its own internal scholarships. But these are competitive and they are limited as well. But generally, they are based on your academic profile. Now, of course, we have our arrangement with COLFUTURO, and if you are selected as a COLFUTURO beneficiary and you come to study at Sussex, you will be automatically given a 20% tuition fee discount. And each year we select one student to receive a full tuition fee discount. So every student who comes to Sussex from COLFUTURO can expect a 20% discount, but one lucky student will receive a 100% discount as well. So it could be, very lucrative or very manageable if, of course, you receive the full discount, but you can expect at least a 20% discount with Sussex and COLFUTURO. We also have a number of Chevening scholars who come to Sussex. And now, obviously, if you're applying for COLFUTURO, probably not Chevening as well, but just good to know that you will have an opportunity to mix with other scholars as well as part of the Chevening program. And yeah, so just to talk about some alumni, we've got some pretty famous alumni, and particularly from this region, probably our most famous is the former president of Costa Rica, Carlos Alvarado, who studied as a Chevening scholar with us. I believe he studied development studies or economics and development studies. So we have some excellent alumni who studied at Sussex, as well as some former presidents. of South Africa and some very influential figures within business and within international relations. So just to talk about development, well, very quickly, you will be coming, maybe some of you are on this call today because you're particularly interested in that. And as I mentioned earlier, we have been ranked globally top for development studies for 9 consecutive years. We have a really wide range of courses. Some of them are based at our working institute that you can see here in the bottom left, the Institute of Development Studies, and that's generally for working professionals as well. But we have a number of development courses that are in collaboration with other schools at Sussex. So you may find some development courses that are in collaboration with the business school. We have one course with the School of Education, one course with the School of Media, and we have some very interesting courses that combine the social sciences with development studies. And that's based at our School of Global Studies. So a really wide range of courses. Some require work experience and some don't. Okay, but that will all be very clear on our website, exactly what entry requirements are needed. Very easy to apply to us. You can search online for all of our courses. You can search our master's courses and you will see a course page like this. So for this, for example, is Sustainable Finance and Accounting MSc. But you can see all the different options. And of course, there's many more courses than just development, but these are just some of the courses available within the development studies field. And if you click on this course, for example, each course will have its own individual course page where you can see all the information you need to know, including the modules that you will be taught on the course. So in advance of picking a course, you can get some real in-depth information about each course. So you can feel confident that the course you've chosen is the exact right fit for you. So yeah, lots of information about our website, about each individual course. So if anything looks interesting, click onto that course and find out more. If you choose to apply to Sussex, you will do so directly through our website. So we have our own application system on this University of Sussex website. And yeah, generally it allows you to upload all your documentation, so your certificates, your transcripts, your work experience. You will write a personal statement in support of your application and also provide referees, usually academic references from your undergraduate studies. But all of this can be managed on your own individual application portal. And eventually, when you need to apply for a visa and receive your CAS, which will allow you to apply for your visa, this can be sent to you on your portal and managed there. So very straightforward process. Everything can be done, as I said, through the university website, and everything can be managed on your application portal. And Sussex does not charge an application fee. So you are free to make an application free of charge to us. Okay, so that's a bit about Sussex from an academic perspective, and that tells you kind of how you might apply and what grades you need. But I want to talk as well about university life, because a big thing about life, universities in the UK, and particularly at Sussex, is all the extra things you get to do outside of the classroom. So one thing you might get involved with is societies. And, at Sussex, we have about 260 different societies. And some of them are, quite political, perhaps, or quite academic in nature. They may be related to your course or another course, but some are really just for fun and really just a hobby and a way to meet new people, find your friends, and just settle into life at Sussex. So, you see some of the societies there, but we also have, for example, a Taylor Swift Appreciation Society. So not everything has to be like really serious. It can just be for fun and a way to relax when you're not studying. Same with sports. Sports is a big part of life at Sussex. There are 27 different sports clubs you can join, and we do have the facilities on campus for most of the sports we need. So you will see soccer pitches, tennis courts, hockey fields, things like that. We have 2 sports centers and gyms, so you can do most of the sports on campus, and if not, then we go into Brighton to do those sports. So there's lots of ways to keep fit and, again, find new friends and just build a community within the Sussex campus. Great thing about sports is that sometimes, if you like, they can be competitive, but if you've never played a sport before and you just want to try it for the first time, that's okay too. You can be a complete beginner and try out a sport, and it's generally very inclusive and very welcoming. And so much more going on campus, and I think Raphael would probably be better at telling you what there is to do on campus when we talk in a few minutes. But, there's so much to do in terms of we have cafes, restaurants, and bars on campus. We have different festivals and fairs and celebrations. There's a weekly farmers market, I think, every Thursday. So, campus always feels very vibrant, very lively. It's not just a place where you go to your lectures and seminars and go home. It does feel like a real kind of student village with its very much having its own community as well. We have some excellent facilities on campus, like all the things you need to be a successful student. So we have a 24-hour library, a brand new student center, supermarkets, a health center, pretty much all the essentials you need. I want to talk as well about our Careers and Employability Centre because, again, this is something that Sussex takes very seriously. So we want to equip you with the social and career skills that you will need for your career after you graduate. So, our careers team can help you apply for jobs. They can work on your CV and interview skills. There are careers fairs that come onto campus. They will advertise internships and mini placements and things like this. If you come as a master's student, you only have 1 year at Sussex, and it can be quite an intense year. But I do really encourage you to engage as much as you can with our careers and employability team, who are going to help develop your job skills and make you far more employable when you graduate. So that's just, some of the things here that you can do. As I said, Sussex takes very seriously its relationships with the public and private sector and local employers, but also employers based in London and internationally as well. So you will always have this chance to really develop your career skill, gain work experience as you study, and hopefully be very well set up for life after you graduate. Okay, I want to talk about university. Oh, sorry, about our housing. So first of all, we can guarantee accommodation on campus for all our postgraduate international students. There is a choice between a 39-week tenancy, or I should have also put there a 51-week tenancy, because you will generally be staying at Sussex for 1 full year, so from September to September. But some students do return home for the summer as well. But yeah, if you apply to Sussex by the 31st of July before you arrive, you are guaranteed to have a place on our university managed accommodation. You have the choice to live with other international students or with UK students as well, if you prefer. But yeah, you will definitely have somewhere to live on campus. And I want to show you as well the convenience of this, because we have many different accommodation options available, but whichever one you choose, it's so convenient for the rest of the campus. So you're never going to be more than a 10-minute walk to the library or a 10-minute walk to the business school or whatever you need. So the campus in a way is quite large, but everything is very walkable. And it really doesn't matter which accommodation option you choose. You'll never be too far away from your friends and from all the essential facilities you need. So just some different options. These are kind of current prices that are available. What we have is kind of a mixture of newer and older accommodation. And also a big distinction is between ensuite accommodation, where you have your own private bathroom, and shared bathroom options as well. And there are a range of different prices. Generally, the ensuite accommodation is more expensive than the shared bathroom options, but we are always trying to provide options for students depending on their budget and, how much privacy they need. You can see here Brighton as an example. There will always be a shared kitchen and living space. So This will always be shared, but you will always have your own private bedroom, and maybe you'll share a bathroom, maybe you will have your own bathroom. But generally, even if there's 7 or 8 of you sharing one flat, there is enough room for everybody in the kitchen. There will be a big refrigerator, as you can see. Everybody has their own cupboard space. So whichever option you choose, it really shouldn't be too bad. And as I said, very convenient for everything you need on campus. So let's get on to Brighton, the city where we are located. So as you can see in the foreground, this is the campus, and then you can see a little bit the city of Brighton in the background. So I think the best way to show you Brighton is through a video. So I'm going to play this one as well. So that is just a very short introduction to what Brighton is like as a city. Hopefully you spotted a few things. One, you would have seen that we're by the sea, and the beach is a big part of university life. But you'd also have noticed that there's some good shopping options, some good dining options. And yeah, generally Brighton is known as being a very kind of creative sort of city, a quite liberal city. Quite politically left wing, I suppose, and progressive. It's known as a place for artists. So if you enjoy theater, music, art galleries, Brighton really excels in that area, especially for a city that size. We have about 250,000 people, which may seem small, but it really feels more culturally advanced than that. In some ways, it feels kind of like a mini London. And in fact, we have the nickname in Brighton of London by the Sea. So I think that gives you the sense of kind of what it's like as a city. But yeah, as I said, beach life is one factor that really draws people to Brighton. And now, of course, we don't always get great weather like I've shown you in this picture, but honestly, even in the spring, it's very nice. And even in winter, when the weather isn't nice, the beach still feels busy. There's a lot of nightlife. And yeah, it's just a great atmosphere, especially during the summer. Then if you move inland to the city, there's, a nice mixture of old and new. Brighton used to be a few hundred years ago just a little fishing village, and it's kind of retained some of that kind of character as well about it. But yeah, great selection of restaurants, pubs, and kind of independent shopping as well. But if you love nature, as I mentioned, we are surrounded by the South Downs National Park. So if you enjoy hiking, if you enjoy going out in nature, that's right on your doorstep as well. And yeah, the great thing about Brighton is that it's very walkable, and, it's very safe as well. Of course, we have crime in the same way any city in the UK would, but generally Brighton is considered a very safe city. So it's safe to take public transport, safe to walk around and really just experience all of this, the beach, the city, and the countryside as well. And yeah, just to continue on, as I say, Brighton has a very strong cultural offering. It's known for its festivals throughout the year, and there's always great entertainment and comedy acts and theatre and cabaret. So even though you're not in a major city like London, I think Brighton competes very well in terms of its cultural offerings. So I'm nearly finished. Just first of all, want to pass on my contact details. So that is my email address. I'm always very happy to take any questions that students might have about studying at Sussex, about the entry requirements, about the process for applying to us. I'm happy to take questions by email, or we can set up a Zoom appointment using Calendly as well. But I also encourage you to start talking to our students now, because a lot of our students are very happy to represent the university and help you guys through this process as well. So there is a platform we use called UniBuddy, where our ambassadors are on there, and they're happy to take any questions you might have that might be more suitable for students. So maybe you want to ask about your timetable or about your social life or things like that. So you're welcome to talk to our current students. You can search for somebody who's studying your course, the course you're interested in, or you can search for people from your country or region. And so that's a great way to connect with people who are already studying at Sussex. And speaking of that, I think then that's perhaps a good time for us, for Raphael and I, to speak about the student experience, maybe. Yeah. So, let's just check. We do have questions, but I'm going to leave the questions until after our conversation, maybe, Raphael.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, Rafa, I guess I should start with how did you first find out about Sussex and why did you come to study with us?
Uh, Kevin, I might start to answer in Spanish if that's okay. Just
Sure,
to,
go for it.
um, a ver, yo soy de Manizales, estudié en Manizales y un amigo que vino a la universidad hace muchos años, hace ya como 10 años, me empezó a hacer un proceso de mentoría y como desde los 15 años me dijo, vaya para Sussex, vaya para Sussex. Y, y me metió como la idea de venir y después investigué más, me di cuenta de que era la mejor universidad del mundo de estudios del desarrollo, etcétera, etcétera. Em, y me terminó pareciendo una super idea y hasta el sol de hoy me sigue pareciendo una super idea. Inclusive ahorita sigo en Brighton y sigo disfrutando de la playa. So,
Okay, yeah. So you just give yourself a little introduction there, I guess, Raphael.
yes, yes.
Yes, thank you for that.
Um,
That was very helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
so
So I don't know if you covered it there, but did you tell people kind of how you found out about Sussex or why you chose
yes.
Sussex? Yeah,
Yes, I just covered there. And just a bit of introduction for everybody. Um,
excellent.
so my background is in economics and political science. And I came to do the Sustainable Development Program, which is hosted by SPRU, which is also the birthplace of innovation studies. Also a lot of great stories regarding both uh, innovation studies and also people who are interested more on the development studies side, of course, with the IDS, which is also number one in the world. Um, so I had some notes written down.
Yeah, go for it.
So in terms of my overall experience, I wanted to tell you, of course, the COLFUTURO scholarship was fundamental for me having the funding for coming to the University of Sussex. Anybody who's thinking of applying to university should rest assured that the money is enough to for you to live well during the whole year. Uh,
Right, good.
so you just have to budget yourself around some priorities, but it's plenty for getting a comfortable life, living either on campus or off campus, and then also to explore, which is also a great part of doing a master's abroad.
Cool. And in terms of your living costs, Rafa, did you lived on campus this year, I guess?
Yes, yes, I lived on
Cool.
campus. I live in Brighton, the little houses.
Yeah,
Um, my accommodation was very diverse. I had a Japanese flatmate, one from Filipinas, another one from Pakistan, and another one from Ghana. So we were all very
yeah.
different. Uh,
Yes, a very international atmosphere that I was speaking about in the presentation. So yeah, I think Brighthelm is probably one of our mid-range accommodation
yes,
options, like not the most expensive. And am I correct that the price you pay includes all bills? Isn't that correct?
yes, the price includes all bills, and I
Mm,
did went for the 51 week contract, which was kind
the
of the only
51, yeah.
option that I have.
Yeah.
But if you are very sure on your plans and you know that you're going to come back during the summer, you might be better off having the 39-week contract and just come back to Colombia, and that will save you a very significant amount of money uh, that will help you out to either allocate it to something else or just don't spend it as part of the loan.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I suppose an interesting thing to know would be how is studying at Sussex different from studying your undergraduate in Columbia in terms of like the teaching styles and the course content? What was it a big shock, a big adjustment, or did you find some similarities maybe?
Yeah, no, it was a big shock for me. I like my case in particular, I come from a really small local university.
Hmm.
So the difference in the classrooms were bigger. The professors were like world-class experts in their fields, which was very interesting. So you constantly feel like you're learning something new and that you're being challenged in the same way. I especially felt that way in the policy analysis class. He was uh he was an excellent professor, but very quick to point out and to argument like where your rationale was wrong certain in any way, shape, or form. So
Hmm.
that was very interesting. I learned a lot from Steve. Um, so critical thinking is going to be something that's going to be there for sure. You're also have to expect to write a lot, to read a lot. Your assessments it is most I I unless you're doing a STEM masters or finance oriented masters, your assessments are going to be mostly essays and multiple choice questions depending on your classes, but mostly essays. So you will learn how to write a compelling piece of academic work in Sussex because we are a research-oriented university, as you mentioned.
Yeah. And did you have many elective modules or optional modules on your course, or was it all compulsory?
Um, we had the first um our first chunk of modules were compulsory with one little option, and then the second part of the course were all optionals. So you could
Yeah.
either for example, in my case, sustainable development focuses on sustainability transitions and innovation for sustainability. So
Yeah.
I went more for the policy analysis and transformative policy route. There are other colleagues that took the decolonizing perspective for it,
Mm.
which is also very strong at SPRU too.
Yeah. So generally on most of our postgraduate courses, there will be some what we call core modules, and these are compulsory because we just think that every student needs these fundamental concepts. But like Rafi, you will have the chance to kind of personalize your own course. There will always be some optional modules, some elective modules. So if you have specific interests within development or whichever subject you choose to study, you can kind of go down your own route and someone else will do something different and you all end up with a slightly different, especially as you all will have your own dissertation topic, which you've just finished, Raphael, didn't you? How was that? What did you choose to focus your dissertation on?
So that was very interesting. I took I tried to be strategic about choosing my dissertation topic. I wanted to work with a particular professor that works on sustainable finance. Because like my background is in economics and political science, but my professional experience was mainly in biodiversity finance related to policy analysis. So he's one of the leading world experts in sustainable finance. He works at the Bennett Institute, and that also goes to your point, Kevin, about networking. He was walking down the Jubilee building where we were located, like hosted. And I just jumped into him, did an elevator pitch and said, like, I really want to work with you. Can we make that happen? And he said, like, I have a project maybe. And I ended up working on sustainability in small island economies. And that's gonna be the the research in itself, like it already produced like my thesis, my dissertation, but it also is also feeding a KPMG thought leadership report on sustainability in small island economies. And we're also planning on doing a research paper at the Bennett Institute. So um, that's how I came to be to choose my dissertation topic. But I really wanted to focus on investment. So what I did for my thesis was small island economies, but investment priorities for small island economies and alternative rules.
Oh. I mean, I like that story because I think it shows just how approachable our academics are, and that, maybe students come from different backgrounds where there's a big separation between academics and students. But I like to think at Sussex, our academics are very approachable. You can just talk to them casually, and despite our ranking and, within certain subjects, there isn't this hierarchy. I hope you felt like between, academics and students that it was more about there could be real open conversation and debate and collaboration between you two, I think.
Definitely, definitely.
Mm.
You can certainly tell that professors enjoy being approached. They're really open to work with you, and even though they're busy, they will make the time to have a chat with you. And if not, if it is not the case that they end up working with you directly, they will direct you to another professor that will help you out, and you really feel like people from Sussex take care of each other. So
That's good to
that was
hear.
really nice to feel. Yeah.
Yeah. And getting away from the academic aspects, how was your social life and th life on campus? Did you join any of the clubs and societies that I talked about in the presentation?
Yes, yes. I joined the tennis team.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, I did the trials and everything. I got into the team, but they kicked me out on the second month because I didn't I couldn't attend the matches. They were
Right.
like the competition stuff was not planned for master student. So
Yeah.
that could be
Oh,
something that the whole like UK master system could work on, like competition for
yeah.
master students. But yeah, I did a bunch of stuff, and that was also what I was going to say to our our fellow future Sussex students, hopefully.
Mm.
It's just like do everything in your bucket list. Like just
Yeah.
it is just a year. It passes by really quick, and just try to make a bucket list and try to take
Do
that
everything.
bucket list as soon as you can.
Yeah.
So
And
um,
off the campus, how did you enjoy Brighton as a city?
So Brighton is lovely. It's just is small enough to be cozy and to be really easy to move around. We have a great 24 hours bus system, especially if you're living on campus. Like it doesn't matter if you go out partying, like you'll have a way to go back home
To get back.
and
Yeah.
and not necessarily pay an Uber because that's really pricey here. It's just it's very vibrant culturally. There's always like live music, events. The beach, as you mentioned, is a great part of our social life. When the weather is nice, it is most often than not, hey, let's go catch the sunset at the beach, and it really feels like kind of those UK US movies of the sunset. I remember I have to like I'll share some pictures if that's possible later. But my first day, I came with some fellow COLFUTURO students and other internationals, and the sunset was just stunning. So you do
Mm.
get you if you're worried about the UK being a little gloomy and not so sunny, Brighton is really the best place to be in
Yeah,
that
it's
regard.
about as good as, as good as you're going to get in the UK. Yeah, in the Southeast. But yeah, I suppose maybe we'll just finish our conversation. What was like maybe the toughest thing you had to adjust to and deal with, and maybe what advice would you give our fellow, yeah, as you said, hopefully future Sussex students. So, just for dealing with what challenges did you overcome and yeah, what advice or what tips would you give them?
Okay, so a challenge was to organize my schedule, because there were so many things that I wanted to do, and there's also like seminars and conferences and also other events. Also, that's a good tip. Do attend to other events because you are going to be in the UK systems. So for example, I attended the Oxford Sustainable Finance Summit, and then another event in London about sustainable investment and so on and so forth. So it also, well, now that you're in the UK or in Europe, like you might as well connect and expand yourself in that way. Having said that, it was hard to organize my schedule and get everything done, as things that I wanted to do. And I'm not gonna lie, winter was harsh,
Mm,
mostly because I didn't take vitamin D. If you come, do take your
right.
vitamin D, and to adjust to it being so gray and so gloomy was particularly challenging. Uh,
Yeah.
what was the other part of the question, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I think you get the biggest advice there. Get some vitamin D to get through winter. Yeah. I think, even I've lived in this area of the world all my life and I still find winter tough. So it is an adjustment. And I think it's like what you say, it's about keeping busy, making sure you're involved in lots of, other activities. And yeah, if you stay busy, hopefully the winter passes pretty quickly. But we had a good
Yeah,
summer this year, right? It was quite
we had a
hot.
great summer and also a great spring.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so and
Mm.
the and as just to answer the full spectrum of your question, um, a quick tip for it would be definitely connect with people and grow a community, because
Yeah,
it will be the case that at some point you will feel like lonely or a bit sad, and having that community here makes all the difference. In my case, it was the COLFUTURO community. We came in a bunch. We were like 15 people. We cooked together. We had trips together. We went to Edinburgh together. I also traveled with a smaller group to Iceland. Like I'm big into traveling, so if you come to Sussex, also uh, experience everything you want, and really open yourself to what Sussex offers and to what the UK has to offer. It really has impacted me a lot, and I wish some of you find Sussex also both a place to study and a home, just as I did.
great. Well, thank you so much, Raphael. I think we're going to move on to questions, but I'll keep you on the call because I'm sure you could be handy. But some of them maybe are a bit more specific to me. So the first one we have is regarding our university. I'll read it for everybody, although I'm sure you can read it. Regarding the University of Sussex scholarships, what do you mean they depend on the academic profile and who would be the ideal candidate for those? So, yes, yeah, Karen, did you say you wanted to answer that?
Oh, no, 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 no.
Oh,
Um,
sorry. All right. Zoom is
Actually,
telling me that. Yeah, for our own internal scholarships, essentially your GPA would be compared against the GPA of every other international candidate. So not just other Colombians, but um, pretty much every applicant that applies to us. And yeah, we generally have about 150 of these scholarships a year, and we pick the best 150 of those. So the ideal candidate really is the top performing in terms of their GPA from their undergraduate profile. Okay, the next one. What key ideas do you recommend to highlight for the cover letter or personal statement? So first, I think what UK universities look for in Sussex is that you have a very good understanding of your course and a very clear focus on what you want to do. Because generally you only apply for one course and there can be very specific course titles Sometimes there's just general development, but we have, courses like food and development or, sustainable accounting and finance and things like that. So we want to make sure that you're 100% certain that you've chosen the right course for you and that you know exactly what you want to study. Because if you're a bit uncertain, a bit unclear, you're not going to succeed on the course. So that's what we look for, first of all, someone who's very focused on a specific subject and is very passionate about this. So that's the two things. We don't need to see that you're an absolute expert in the subject. That's kind of our job as a university to teach you that. But yeah, we want to know that you know a bit about the subject already and you're very clear that this is a subject you want to do. If a course requires work experience, and as I said, some do, but not all, then you should also use the personal statement to talk about your work experience. Okay, could you tell us how the Sussex COLFUTURO partnership works in terms of application timing? Yeah, Karen, maybe you might need to help me with this, but generally you can, yeah, the application can run in parallel, isn't it? That you don't need to be holding an offer from Sussex in order to apply to COLFUTURO.
Yes, that's right. So,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to step to talk in Spanish.
Yes, please do.
Sí, Valentina. Y para todas las personas que están conectadas, al momento de aplicar a la convocatoria de Colfuturo, no es obligatorio que ustedes ya tengan carta de admisión de la universidad a la que se postularon. Sin embargo, si la tienen, puede que les dé un puntaje de ventaja, quizás, en el criterio de selección del factor de ajuste. Entonces, recordarles, no es obligatorio, pero podría darles una ventaja si el programa está muy bien calificado. Yes, that's it, Kevin.
Well, I think that's all the questions we had, but we do have more time. So if anyone wants to type any more questions,
Kevin,
very happy.
if I may add, in the meantime,
Sure.
as we receive more questions, de hecho, también fui beneficiario de la beca de Colfuturo, de la beca de la universidad. I also won the Chancellor's Scholarship Award.
Okay.
And the business school has a £2,000 award
Yes,
for
it
international
did.
students. So I actually got the maximum scholarship I could get between Colfuturo and the university.
Yeah, that's a good point. It would be possible to combine our internal scholarships with the COLFUTURO award as well. So yeah, you mentioned the academic scholarship. We're not sure the business school award that you were also given. We're not sure if that's happening again this year, but we'll be able to confirm that. But generally, you are usually able to combine scholarships, our internal scholarships, and definitely you can combine it with the COLFUTURO award as well. So it could be more than that 20% discount. You could be getting significantly more.
Okay, that is important point. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Rafael and Kevin. So, well, we don't have any more questions for you today, but thank you again, Kevin and Rafael, for being
Okay.
here, for the amazing presentation, and for all the valuable information that you gave us. Oh, let me see.
One more, maybe?
Okay, yes. Javier says, I have a question regarding the IELTS or TOEFL score required for admission. Is there a minimum or recommended score?
Yes, this will depend on the course you apply for because sometimes the English score does vary. As an absolute minimum for any of our courses, IELTS minimum would be 6 overall. But as I said in the presentation, some are 6.5 and the highest would probably be 7. So yeah, the minimum you would need to aim for would be 6 overall in the IELTS and the equivalent in the TOEFL.
Okay, that's perfect. Well, so again, thank you so much. Y a las personas que se conectaron, muchas gracias también por su participación. Los esperamos en todas las demás sesiones que tenemos preparadas para ustedes. Kevin, thank you and hope to see you in the next opportunity.
Thank you very much, Karen, and thank you so much, Rafa, and to everybody who joined. It's been a pleasure.
Chao,
Muchas
Rafael.
gracias.
Gracias. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.